In this session, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about cross-site request forgery, right? And if you think about it, in terms of the actual word here, request forgery, we know that there is some kind of forgery happening in this kind of attack here. So let's do a little bit more deeper dive here, right? So first of all, we have our web server on the right-hand side, we have our user, our browser on the left-hand side, and we have our attacker at the bottom there. Now, in this specific attack, what the attack is doing is actually targeting the web application over here, but it's doing that as a means of accessing the actual user browser, right? So the attacker is going to want to do something in this direction, but ultimately get to the web app, right? And what the attacker in this scenario is all about social engineering, right? So before we get there, in this scenario, there was a couple of things that takes place first, right? The user here is authenticated to this web server, and that's an important differentiation here, right? This web server has already authenticated this web user, right? So in that respect here, what the attacker is trying to do here is trying to get the user to perform some kind of actions here, right? And the way we do that, for example, is we could do something like social engineering or something. And what the attacker may do is send an email with a link inside it. So when the user receives the email with the link inside it, we want the user through social engineering to be able to click on that link. And what actually happens is that link will then go to the web application and perform some unwanted actions, for example. And then what basically happens is that ultimately the web app, right, will then send over, like for example, cause that web application to do something such as transfer electronically money or something to a different location, right? And that basically is really the essence of this attack, trying to get the user to perform some kind of action by clicking on some emails, which causes an unwanted action to happen on the web app, right? And these kind of actions there can be a number of actions, right? There can be something simple as just changing someone's email address, or but the key element here is if I go back here, the actions that we perform here on the web app really depends on how this user is authenticated on the web app, right? So if you think about it, if it's just a regular user, it can click on that malicious link and cause that web app or something to, for example, transfer those funds to a different location, right? But if this user here is actually an administrative user, right, then the attacker can do so much more, right? It can gain more access to the web app. It can do more malicious things. So that's essentially what a cross-site request forgery attack is. Thank you.